Hi everyone, it's National Master Aaron Cooper, and I'm here with a book review. This classic, The Seven Deadly Chess Sins by British Grandmaster Jonathan Rowson. Now, this book was made in the year 2000, and it's really more about the psychology of chess. And that being said, it doesn't get too academic-y, so it's a very easy read. And it's not all prose. He actually gives some example games and positions. And so I think it's very worthwhile to a wide range of players. So on that note, let's get on with the review. Here's the first page of the table of contents, which lists 5 of the 7 deadly chess sins. Namely, those are thinking, blinking, wanting, materialism, and egoism. Now, out of these 5, I've only read number 4, materialism, and in particular, I really like the very last entry, the 4 dimensions of chess. That section is really interesting, and it really emphasizes the point that in chess, there's more than just the value of the pieces, the quantitative value of the pieces. There's 3 other factors. Quality, meaning the quality of our pieces. For example, a good bishop versus a bad bishop. Time, for example, whether we can achieve our goal before our opponent. So that could be like a pawn race in the ending. And last but not least, the clock, whether we have enough time to complete the game. And here's page 2 of the table of contents, which shows the last 2 chess sins, those being perfectionism and looseness. Now, I've only read section 6, perfectionism, which is the very first section that I've gone to, and anybody who's come to my stream knows that I get into frequent time trouble. So this was a perfect section for me, pardon the pun. Now, I'm going to show you a game that he goes through in this section, which hopefully will give you an idea of what the author is trying to do and how he achieves that. So here's an example game where the author is playing in the Canadian Open from 2000. He's up against Robert Gardner, which is kind of funny because maybe he thought that someday a Canadian would be doing a review on his book. I don't know. Anyway, in this position, it looks like a French defense. You've got the locked up center, and black has typical pressure on the d-pawn. But up until this point, black has already spent 20 minutes on their moves. And so Rowson here makes a practical decision. He says, let's just reinforce our center. Knight e2, queen b6, c3, castle's long. So I think he says that he spent about 3 minutes up until this point. So he's got a pretty significant time advantage. And he says, if we consider 20 minutes up on the clock as a third of a pawn or half a pawn, that's one way that we could quantify it. So the clock matters in a practical game. And in this position, he gives a similar rationale for his next move, which was king to h2, getting out of the line of that queen. Now, black plays f5, which he annotates as a dubious move. And this is really the key position because white has 3 considerations. Knight g5, e takes f, or d takes c. So let's just look real quickly at the moves that were not played in the game. So here, this is the line that Rowson gives. There's some masses of exchanges on e5. And it looks pretty good here for white. But compared to the previous position, black has freed up his position. And he's got some ideas. Maybe d4, c4. So he wasn't too crazy with that position. The other alternative, taking with the d-pawn, swapping off the bishop for the knight. It's a closed game. Closed games, you want to prefer knights. Now, he didn't quite care for this because he thought, well, I might be able to get an attack on the king, but he was concerned about h6, g5, and the counterplay that black might be able to muster on the king side. So he settled on option number 3, knight g5, because he figured that he's got some pressure on e6, and if, as in the game, black took, then this pawn is really going to hamper any serious ideas of h6, and the king should be safe with these 3 pawns helping. Also knight f4 coming in. So the main reason why he chose this was that black's counterplay is not so evident. Does black open up the queen side? Well, the king is there. So you could imagine rook c1 coming, a4, a takes b. And I'm not going to show you the rest of the game, but basically black in his next move plays c4. He locked down the queen side, and he managed to lose because he really didn't have some concrete counterplay. So I thought this was very instructive, particularly for a perfectionist like me. And I think it's a good example or a good tip on how to improve our confidence, right? Another thing that he says in the book is don't be afraid of making mistakes, because we're playing against other humans. They're going to make mistakes too. And what's the big deal if we make mistakes? I mean, it's not the end of the world. We're going to learn from our mistakes. So it's better to be practical and to have some time on the clock than to always search for the perfect move. We'll wrap it up here. So give me a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment too, please. Even if you didn't like the video, just let me know. I'm looking for some feedback. So be on the lookout for more book reviews. And until next time, happy chessing, everyone.